Now, it was one of the most shocking crimes London witnessed last year. 5-year-old Tusha Kamale-Swaran was left paralysed by a gang firing shots in her uncle's shop in Stockwell. Today it's emerged that youth workers who were charged with the care of one of those responsible have been severely criticised by inspectors. And there are claims that if they'd done their job properly, the shooting, which Tusha narrowly survived, may never have happened. Our special correspondent, Kurt Barling, has this report.
Tusha Kamale-Swaran's shooting was the stuff of nightmares. She can no longer walk. Here Tusha is, stricken, after being caught in the middle of a gang gunfight. Next week, those who committed this horrific crime, for which only they are responsible, will be sentenced. But it's now emerged that one of them, 19-year-old Anthony McCullough, was on the radar of numerous agencies for his high risk of reoffending and causing harm to others.
High-risk individuals, which means the risk is they hurt people and they're at risk of hurting themselves by their own behaviour and actions. So when you're talking about this small group and your standards of care and supervision for this group are generally poor or non-existent, then yes, people will get hurt. That's the outcome of it.
A recent inspection of the Lambeth Youth Offending Team has criticised its poor performance. Inspectors say many substantial or drastic improvements are urgently needed.
Street were paid by Lambeth Council to work with Anthony, and they did work with Anthony, and they were very successful at working with Anthony. However, Anthony hit the age of 18, and once that transition point was crossed, the money dried up, and the money was expected from somewhere else. Didn't happen.
Street, a gang intervention project, encouraged these young men to move away from the gangs McCullough was caught up with. They worry there's now no such presence on Lambeth streets.
If they didn't take us foot park, if they didn't take us bowling, if they take us dinners, they would just be lounging around on the roads. And God knows what would happen on the roads if it was on the road.
The amount of violence that's happening on the roads is still apparent. So they might hide it by saying there's least people getting killed, but silly things are still happening because youths are not being catered for.
BBC London has seen emails which make it clear Street were asked by police and probation to help Anthony McCullough. But funding issues meant Street were not in a position to help. McCullough was left to roam the streets, causing mayhem. We know what happened next. The Centre for Social Justice believes government must make tackling gangs a priority.
Until you admit you've got a gang problem in your area, until you recognise the damage that does to your communities and how it stifles opportunity, life chances, it makes people feel unsafe. Unless you recognise that, we will never come to terms with it and never deal with the problem.
Lambeth say they recognise the scale of the gang problem and have appointed a local politician to refocus local priorities. Gang mediators are practical people. One of the things they did was create this neutral space in Kennington to bring rival gang members together. The concern is that the removal of these people as a consequence of funding cuts means that gangs will proliferate, and so too will their violence. Kurt Barling, BBC London News.